The court denied waiving Brett Favre welfare scheme lawsuit. What does it mean? It means white privilege was denied here. The Mississippi Supreme Court refused to remove Brett Favre from a welfare fraud lawsuit, and he will have to defend himself now as the case moves forward. He's still on the hook. Yep, still at it. Let's tell you more of what's going on here. Favre, who is being called a welfare queen. Mississippi Supreme Court has declared that it will keep former NFL quarterback Brett Favre as a defendant in civil lawsuits aiming to reclaim millions. We told you about this story. Millions misspent welfare funds designated to aid some of the most impoverished people in the United States. Look at him smiling. According to prosecutors, the welfare funds amounting to millions designated for economically disadvantaged residents of Mississippi were purportedly squandered on initiatives endorsed by affluent or well-connected individuals between 2016 and 2019. It is considered the largest case of public fraud in the state's history. Mississippi Department of Human Services sued its former director and Favre. That was in May 2022 over the misuse of $77 million. Again, it was supposed to go some of the poorest people in our country, definitely the poorest in Mississippi. Lawsuit contends the money from the temporary assistance to needy families program was improperly diverted, including to projects backed by Favre. No criminal charges have been levied. Several individuals, including the former department director, have confessed to their roles in the financial mismanagement scheme. And a black star with this. Now, you see some of the memes that people are putting up. Again, he's being called a welfare queen. Images like that. Supposed to look like that. Stereotype of a welfare queen. Instead, used to play for the Packers, okay? The Hail Marys got out of control at the end. That's why they replaced him. Aaron Rodgers got the nod. It was over, okay? But he was still loved. Then he turns around and does this. According to the claim, $5 million was allocated for a university volleyball arena where Favre's daughter just happened to be on the team. $1.7 million for the development of a concussion treatment drug. April 24th, Judge Faye Peterson, Pines County Circuit, denied Favre's plea to be excused from the lawsuit, which involves more than 30 individuals and entities as defendants. Let's remind you what Favre said, okay? He said he was unaware of this, okay? He took the case to the Supreme Court. Favre argued to the state Supreme Court that officials from the Department of Human Services, along with Nancy New, who supervised a nonprofit organization under Human Resources Services contracts, orchestrated the scheme to channel welfare funds towards the volleyball center. Favre said he was unaware, but then the text messages, those text messages came to light. You don't want people to read it, don't text it, I guess. In those text messages disclosed in a court filing, September 2022, Favre actively sought guarantees from the nonprofit leader that his pursuit of millions in grants would remain concealed from the public knowledge. Quote, if you were to pay me, is there any way the media can find out where it came from and how much Favre texted? No. We never have had that information publicized, she texted back. I understand you being uneasy about it, though. David, there's more. Favre has paid back some, not all of it, 5 million here, still outstanding. He sued people in the media who just reported on this. And others are pointing to Kaepernick and saying, here we are again. This white privileged athlete, David, gets free money and all these chances. The other guy just takes a knee, cornrows and a knee, or an afro and a knee, and he is just excommunicated.
And look, it's white privilege for sure. This is the benefit of being a white quarterback in a place like Green Bay, as opposed to a black quarterback in a place like San Francisco. I suppose a lot of people in this country feel it's worse to take a knee for the national anthem or somehow disrespect the flag than to somehow steal money from people who need it for welfare. I mean, that's the kind of society we have. We have some very hateful, disgusting people. Sadly, Brett Favre clearly seems to be one of them. Now, I'm not going to sort of prejudge Brett Favre whether he knew or not, but I'm relieved that the courts have forced him to continue to be a defendant, because if he really feels like he was unaware and wants to argue that in court, let him do it. go ahead and argue that you are unaware, and have attorneys then have you explain under cross-examination about these texts, and maybe Brett Favre can come up with some sort of crazy answer that will satisfy some people. He's entitled to a defense, but the people are also entitled to hold him accountable and bring justice to Brett Favre and all these other, and I don't even want to say it, people who took advantage of the least in our society.
Yeah, you're a fearless quarterback, okay? You pitched for Levi Jeans, the American, like he was just everything, okay? Loved him. So if you're that tough, show us in a court of law. I happen to think he's lazy, David, so I'm gonna prejudge him a little bit. He's rich and he could have raised money, speeches, whatever, travel. He just seems lazy to me. And now perhaps he will be forever the welfare queen.